ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Public Service Commission of February 2nd, 2017. I am going to ask that before we start the meeting that we all stand for a moment of silence in honor of the correctional officer who lost his life. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is to introduce our new public advocate, Mr. Drew Slater. Drew, would you stand up and tell us a little bit about you?
Hi, I'm Drew. It's been about a week, so I don't have a whole lot to say. But I look forward to working with you. That's all I got.
Okay. We'll ask you again at the end of the meeting.
That's fine.
The first item on the agenda is the reading of the minutes. January 24th, 2017, the public meeting. Anybody have any corrections or additions to the minutes? We approve the minutes.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The next thing is the executive session of January 24th. Any corrections there?
I move that the commission approve the executive session.
I second.
All right, any questions on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. The next item is the consent agenda. There are, I believe, 3 items on that.
Four.
The third item on the agenda is one on which we will take no action. Would anybody like to move any of those off of the consent agenda, or are there any questions on those? If not, could we have a motion to accept the consent agenda, please?
Motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I second it.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right, and now we are on to the regular agenda. The first item on the regular agenda is, in the matter of the adoption of rules and regulations to implement the provisions of 26 Delaware Code Chapter 10 relating to the creation of a competitive market for retail electric supply service. And I guess I have to read this chain of when it was opened. April 27th, 99, reopened January 7th, 2003, reopened September 22nd, 2009, reopened September 7th, 2010, and reopened July 17th, 2012. Ms. Mayorak.
Thank you, Madam Acting Chair and Commissioners. As counsel to the Commission on this docket, Regulation Docket 49, as the Commissioners are aware, we did hold a public comment session at our meeting. I believe it was 2 meetings ago, January 10th. Thank you, Council. No parties had any public comment to make at that meeting. We did keep the written record open for comments since then. There were comments filed by staff, and previous to that, there was a comment filed by Retail Energy Supply Association, RESA. So all that remains for the Commission to do today is to deliberate and make a decision on this order and final regulation that is before you. The time and opportunity for comments and argument is closed. So all we need today is for the Commission to deliberate and make a decision on the order that is in front of you.
Commissioners, do you have any deliberation? Any comments? I have but one comment. Finally.
That's it. I was about to say that.
Okay.
Yes.
Your pleasure.
Madam Chair, Acting Chair, I move that the Commission adopt order number 9020 as submitted.
I second it.
Any questions on the motion?
I, too, Madam Chair, would like to thank all of the parties for the perseverance to get this to the final stage and bring closure. No other comments.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposing votes? Any abstentions? Motion carries. We are on to the, yeah, we all were standing.
I'm reminded of what President Ford said in August of 1974 about a particular administration. Our long national nightmare with regard to this regulation, I believe, is temporarily over.
Temporarily.
Well, you know.
Okay.
But anyway, it's been a long time.
Yes, it has been a long time. It was even before I was here. The second item on the regular agenda is the matter of the petition of the Division of the Public Advocate to request the Public Service Commission to amend 26 Delaware Administrative Code, subsection 308.2.21 to issue regulations governing when a freeze of the minimum percentages of eligible energy resources and solar photovoltaic may be declared. Ms. Mayrack, it's yours again.
Thank you, Madam Acting Chair and Commissioners. As I believe the Commissioners are aware, this was a docket wherein the Public Advocate and the Cesar Rodney Institute petitioned the Commission to reopen Regulation Docket 56 for the purpose of promulgating regulations dealing with the solar and renewable energy cost caps. The Commission had initially denied that petition. That decision was then appealed in Superior Court, where the Commission defended its decision and the Public Advocate argued that it should be reversed. There was briefing and oral argument, and ultimately the decision of the Superior Court was to reverse the Commission's decision and remand it to this Commission for further action. This order basically complies with that court decision, and it reverses order number 8807, or the portion of that order which dealt with, among other things, the intervention petition of DENREC. It reverses the provision of that order that had denied the petition of the Delaware Public Advocate and the Cesar Rodney Institute, and it directs staff to reopen Regulation Docket 56 for the limited purpose of promulgating regulations on the cost caps, and that order to reopen that regulation docket is the next item on the regular agenda. So staff would urge the Commission to adopt order number 9025 that would comply with the judge's order in the appeal of that decision of the Commission.
Thank you very much.
You don't have another choice here. It's not really a choice.
Well, there's always a choice, I guess.
We could be raised, you know.
Well, if the Commission were to decline to adopt order number 9025, I guess I would be put in the awkward position of explaining to the judge why we're not complying with the remand order.
Move we approve order number 9025.
Thank you very much. Is there a second?
I second it.
For a minute there, you scared me. Are there any questions on the motion?
Yes, Madam Acting Chair. One from Ms. Mayrack. So there's a paragraph here on page 3 that says ordering paragraph number 21 of order 8807, which denied the petition of the DPA and CRI, is reversed. This does not affect the decision to allow the solar photovoltaics to continue. In other words, there was no reversal of the decision that would put a cap on or declare a cap on these renewables. Is that correct?
That is correct, Commissioner Gray. Paragraph number 21 of order 8807 simply said the petition of the DPA and CRI is denied, and that's all it said. So all this is doing is reversing the Commission's denial of their petition, which was asking for a reopening of a regulation docket to then promulgate regulations.
Okay,
so
understood.
it does not affect any freeze or lifting of a freeze of a cost cap.
Okay,
It's just about whether we undertake to amend these regulations.
Got it. All right. That's the only question I have, Madam Chair. Thank you.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right, and now we're on item number 3, which again is Ms. Mayrack.
Thank you, Madam Acting Chair and Commissioners. It's, I think, fitting that we're here on Groundhog Day to deal with these 2 regulation dockets, 49 and now 56. But what you have before you is order number 9024, which would reopen regulation docket 56, which dates back to 2005, for the limited purpose of promulgating regulations to amend 26 Delaware Admin Code, Section 3008-3.2.21, which would again put in procedural regulations that govern when a freeze of the minimum percentages of eligible energy resources and solar voltaics may be declared pursuant to 26 Delaware Code 354I and J. These are what we colloquially refer to as the cost cap regulations or the cost cap freeze. This order opens the docket. It's the beginning of the process that is governed by the Administrative Procedures Act. It will call for publication of a proposed regulation, which is attached to the order, in the Delaware Register of Regulations. It will direct staff to publish notice in 2 newspapers that we are undertaking this regulation docket. It sets a public hearing date on April 6th, and then also leaves a written comment period open until April 24th. So what this does is it starts the process, and it will allow all parties ample opportunity to comment and provide feedback to the Commission, both in writing and in person. I will note that we did receive a comment this morning from a member of the public that was asking the Commission to delay adoption of this order. And I would advise the Commission that the APA does not require or allow further consideration at this point. We haven't even started the process yet. I would ask that the Commission not consider this comment today, but delay consideration of it until the comment period is open, until other parties that did not file comments today also have equal opportunity to comment, and to give the comment its due when it's appropriate to do so. And if the Commission may at that point decide that further changes are warranted, that further delay is necessary, but again, I remind you, there is a court order that if there's further delay in complying with the remand order, that we may have to explain to the court. So again, this comment has been sent to us asking for a delay of the opening of the docket, a delay of the publication of the proposed regs, and I would advise the Commission to consider this a substantive comment and consider it later and give it the full consideration that it deserves during the process, as the Administrative Procedures Act would require. So again, asking for the Commission to adopt order number 9024, which would reopen regulation docket 56, publish proposed regulations, and get the process started so that we're in compliance with the remand order from Superior Court.
Any questions?
Is that member of public present here?
I believe he was not able to attend today, which is why the written comments were filed.
Madam Acting Chair, I'd move that the Commission adopt order number 9024 as submitted.
I second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you all very much. We are now on the 4th matter on the regular agenda, which is the matter of the provision of standard offer supply to retail consumers in the service territory of Delmarva Power and Light Company. And I believe we have Mr. Delosa.
Good afternoon, Madam Acting Chair and Commissioners. I have here with me Jim Ledzelter from Liberty Consulting, with whom I believe you're familiar. Jim is here today to present to you the public and confidential results from the Tranche 2 auction for Delaware SOS that was conducted this past Tuesday. With that, I'll turn it over to Jim.
Thank you, Madam Acting Chair and Commissioners. I'm presenting today on behalf of Liberty Consulting, and this is about Tranche 2 auctions that took place this past Monday. If we could just get our slide presentation up. Okay, thanks. Could you advance the second slide? Thank you. We again performed the role of technical monitor for the auctions. To summarize, the auctions were consistent with the RFP, resulted in winning bids that reflect market conditions, and the auctions were performed competitively in terms of both the number of participants and the number of bids placed. Next slide. We performed our usual tasks, which I will summarize into 6 categories: review bidder communication channels, review bidder website materials, oversee bidder eligibility, confirm fees for use of Enernox bid platform, develop a power market assessment for staff, and monitor the auction room. Next slide. As an overview, this tranche was a small one, and it was just for 3 blocks, totaling about 134 megawatts. 2 blocks of Risky and 1 of MGS. LGS and GSP are only auctioned in Tranche 1. Next. Overall participation was just a tad lower than in Tranche 1, with 5 ultimate bidders as compared to 6 in Tranche 1. This can be chalked up to fewer blocks offered and no LGS or GSP blocks offered. But overall, this was still an adequate level of participation. Next. Despite having 1 fewer participant, bid activity was on par with Tranche 1 for the Risky blocks and actually exceeded Tranche 1 for the MGS block. This is another indication of the competitiveness of the auctions. Next slide. Prior to the auctions, we review the power markets in order to identify any market conditions that are not conducive to a competitive auction, and we establish opening prices, and we estimate a range of winning prices. All of these were performed, and the auction proceeded as scheduled and went off without a hitch. Next slide. In our review of the market, we looked at the 1- and 3-year delivery periods commencing on June 1st of this year. The red line is the forward price for Tranche 2, the dashed black line is for Tranche 1, and the solid black line is from Tranche 2 1 year ago. For the 1-year period, we determined that the PJM energy prices had edged up slightly since Tranche 1, but are still lower than last year's Tranche 2. For the 3-year delivery period, the prices increased slightly since Tranche 1, but were still substantially below last year's Tranche 2. Of course, natural gas prices are the key to power pricing, and gas remains at very low levels from a historical standpoint. This chart shows the correlation between gas and power in PJM, which is specifically between the Dominion Gas Hub and the PJM Western Hub. Gas is actually trending slightly downward over this 2-year period when you take out the seasonality of pricing. Next. Coal prices have dropped slightly since Tranche 1, and the outlook remains flat. Of course, coal plays less of a role in PJM energy pricing than gas does, and only in certain off-peak hours, but still, this is a favorable outlook for the PJM energy markets. In conclusion, market conditions were ripe for a successful auction, and the auctions went well. They were competitive, and they resulted in winning bids that were consistent with prevailing market conditions. This concludes the public version of my presentation today, so I'll be happy to take any questions at this point.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Well, then we're going to need a motion to go into executive session.
I'm making a motion to enter into executive session.
Seconded.
And if I could just clarify for the record that the reason for that is for the purpose of discussing trade secrets and commercial financial information of a privileged or confidential nature.
Thank you much.
Yeah, thank
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.